I've got an amazing recipe for you today. We're going to make baked ziti. Hi, I'm Carrie with eatingonadime.com, and we're on a mission to help families eat well on a budget. Now, today's recipe, you can find the full link in the description, or you can always go to Eating on a Dime and just search baked ziti, or go to Google and search Eating on a Dime baked ziti, and it'll pull right up. Now, we have a crockpot version that has gone viral multiple times, and people have loved it, so we decided we needed to give you a baked version. It's super simple, and you're going to love it, and you're going to love how simple it is to make. The thing I love about baked ziti is a perfect weeknight dinner, but it's also great for feeding a crowd. You can easily double and triple this recipe to make 3 of them in almost the same amount of time and with the same amount of mess. So I also love making 2. I'll make 1 and then 1 for the freezer. So that way you already have to buy ricotta cheese and that kind of stuff. Let's don't waste it. So you could make 1 of these. I'll throw 1 in a throwaway pan and then freeze it. So then I have baked ziti sometime later in the future for a very lazy, simple, but delicious weeknight dinner. First, you're going to start by preheating the oven to 425 degrees. Next, you're going to need to spray a 9x13 pan with nonstick spray. I'm using an avocado oil spray, but any kind will work. I do have this baking dish linked, but even like just a regular one with the sides is perfect. I just love this because it's so pretty. Now today also we're going to use 1 pound of ground beef. Now the recipe calls for ground sausage, and I love it that way, but I have a couple kids who don't really like sausage. So I wanted to substitute it with beef. Now you can substitute it with ground turkey, you could do turkey sausage, and you could do regular sausage. So I just want to let you know that if you're not a sausage fan, or if you want to like lower the fat content, you can do a really lean ground beef. In a large skillet, we're going to brown our sausage, ground beef, or ground turkey over high heat until it's cooked through. This is the meat chopper that I use. I'll include a link for it. It's very inexpensive on Amazon, but it helps break apart the meat. I personally don't like big chunks of meat in my ziti or other casseroles, and so this really helps let them break apart. But what you want to do is just let it keep cooking, because as it cooks, it'll break apart easier than if you do it when it's raw. While that's browning, I'm going to go ahead and boil a pot of water. We want to cook our ziti until it's all dente. I wanted to show you what I meant. It's already starting to brown, but see how there's more brown parts? When you go and just chop it up and down, it starts breaking apart into little pieces a lot easier than if you try to do it all at once in the beginning. So I just try to separate it in the beginning and let it do its thing, and then you can get that perfect crumble. Another trick when you're trying to boil water, if you put a lid on it, it will actually boil faster. Now we're going to remove it when we add the ziti, but just until it gets to a boil, this little trick will help it go faster. Now that the beef is browned, we're going to add 3 teaspoons of minced garlic. Now actually, the recipe calls for 3 cloves of garlic minced, but I'm feeling lazy, and so I'm doing minced garlic. So the quick substitution is for every garlic clove that a recipe calls for, you just use a teaspoon of mince if you're wanting to be lazy like me. We're going to cook this for about 1 minute until you can smell the garlic. Now we're going to add a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed pepper flakes. I'm just going to do a little pinch. Now you can leave this out if you want to, but also I am linking my, oops, that's the wrong lid. Oops. My spice jars, if you love them. I love them. They're so easy to like put inside, like for your spoons and stuff. And they're really pretty and make sure your kitchen more organized. Next, you're going to add in 3 cups of crushed tomatoes. You could also use tomato sauce if you'd like to, but I kind of like the crush just because it's a little thicker and heartier in the baked ziti. I'm going to stir all this around, and also I've linked my spoon. This is my all-time favorite spoon now because it's like a spatula, but also you can serve out of it. It's so easy to use when you're cooking in a skillet. Now we're going to let this heat through for about 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to let it kind of bring to a boil and then turn it down low. just so it completely heats through. While that is heating up and we're waiting on the water to get to a boil, let's go ahead and shred some cheese. You're going to need 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. Don't go by the pre-shredded mozzarella cheese unless you just have to. I love shredding my own cheese. It melts better, it tastes better, and it's cheaper. So what I love to do, especially when I need like 2 cups, because that's annoying when I hand shred it, I have this amazing cheese grater. It's so easy. It comes apart really easy, and it slides on super easy. So I wanted to show you how I use it. Here we go. So it all comes like this. It's like really inexpensive, so I include a link. But the thing I love is, look, it locks down, so it doesn't move. It suctions to your counter. So, and then I have my glass measuring. I'm going to measure 2 cups. So I'm just going to cut this into pieces. Now, if this could fit under here, that would be amazing, but it doesn't, so that's okay. Now we're just going to turn the handle, and your cheese is grating. Beautifully shredded cheese in minutes. What's so fun is, get your kids to do this. They will love it. Make sure if this gets too clogged, you just kind of throw your fingers and pull it out, and then finish shredding. So I shredded 2 cups worth in 2 minutes. It's super simple. Now I'm just using my Pyrex cup to measure. You don't want to push down your cheese. You want to keep it fluffy so you have an accurate measurement. But honestly, it's okay if you push it down because too much cheese is never a thing. And then you have to taste test it. That's good cheese. And then my favorite thing about this is that it's completely dishwasher safe. This comes apart. You push this little button. This pops off. And then this pops off too. So it all separates, and you can throw everything in the dishwasher. Now that the water is boiling, we're going to add our Ziti Pasta. If you don't know what Ziti Pasta is, it looks like this. They're just little round tubes. You can substitute with different pasta if you don't find Ziti at your store. You know, I've done bow ties before, I've done rotini before, and all those work well. Now we're going to cook this according to the package instructions. You want to cook them al dente. Since we're going to bake this, you want to cook them on the lower end. So mine says 8 to 12 minutes, so I'm going to cook it about 8 minutes. Maybe I'm going to test it around 7 and see how it is. Then you're just going to strain the pasta. I'm going to shake it out. And then what I like to do is immediately rinse it with cold water. What that does is it stops the cooking, because pasta will continue to cook as it's sitting there. So just run some cold water on it to stop the cooking process. Dump that cooked pasta right into that meat sauce and then toss it to combine. You want every piece of pasta coated in that sauce. Now we're going to head back to our 9x13 pan, and we are going to, actually I probably should hold this. We're going to scoop half of this mixture right into the pan. So not multiple layers or anything like that. And it doesn't have to be exact. You're just doing about a little bit more. You're just eyeballing it. We're going to spread it out into the bottom of the pan. Then we're going to scoop, we need 1 cup of ricotta cheese. And you can also use, I said ricotta, yeah I did. But you can also use cottage cheese if you want to. Now, some people don't like the texture of cottage cheese in the like in a lasagna or baked ziti, but a trick for that is you can blend up your cottage cheese and it'll have the same texture as ricotta cheese. So we're just gonna dump little dollops all over this lasagna, or not lasagna, the pasta beef mixture. So I'm just placing spoonfuls all across it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the reason we're doing that is that way it'll be a little bit easier to spread. And then I like to just kind of use my spoon, the back of the spoon, and just spread it a little bit. You do not have to. Again, you're not gonna, it's gonna be great either way. So don't stress out about it. That's why you don't just dump all of it in the middle, to see how it's difficult to spread around. And I don't want to mix it, because when you mix it, your pasta becomes pink. And it's just, I feel like the flavor tastes better if you have strong bits of the ricotta cheese inside. And then we're going to, Rosie wants a bite, we're going to dump the rest of that pasta mixture right on top. Make sure you get all the good stuff out of there. I know, Rosie, it already smells so good. Guys, drop your puppy's name below. And if your puppy will try to sneak a bite. Then top it with 2 cups of that freshly shredded mozzarella cheese. Woo, I'm so excited about this. Last but definitely not least, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I like doing grated or freshly shredded Parmesan. If you get like the shredded, same thing. If you get the shredded Parmesan at the grocery store, it's not going to melt as good. And if you want to know a real secret to make it taste even more amazing is you can sprinkle it with a little bit of garlic salt. So your first taste is garlic and salt, but you don't have to. Okay, so now we're going to head to the oven. We are going to cook this at that 425 for 15 to 20 minutes. So we're going to bake it uncovered. Remember, everything's already cooked. We're just going to get it nice and melted and heated through. Okay, so the timer went off. I need to cancel that. And I wanted to show you how it looks. Nice and starting to get golden brown. It's perfect and ready to eat. It smells so good. Now you're just going to let this sit on your counter or like on your stovetop for 5 to 10 minutes. You want everything to just relax, any extra juices to soak up before you serve it. It smells so good, so it's going to be hard not to dive in. Now, while we wait, I want to tell you a few things. If you want to freeze this, you want to freeze it before you bake it. So what that means is when we added all the cheese, instead of going to the oven, you're going to wrap it in foil and place it into your freezer. Then thaw it in your fridge overnight. It doesn't have to be completely thawed, and then you're going to bake it. It'll just take a little bit longer. It'll take more like 30 to 45 minutes to bake. But yeah, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to let this sit for 5 or 10 minutes, then we'll come back and try it out. Okay, we're ready to taste test and ready to serve. We're just going to scoop it out now. Oops, something just fell. That's okay. What I did though, I want to make sure you know is like I'm just using the spatula to just cut a line into it. That way you can pull it right out. Okay, now it's time for the real test. Is it any good? Of course it is. But do we love it? Yeah, I really like that. Hello. I have another bite, guys. Can't stop eating it. Well, that's it. That's how easy it is. If you like today's recipe, make sure you like and subscribe. I would love it if you would drop a comment and let us know if you're going to try out our Baked Ziti recipe. Remember, make 2 and throw one in the freezer. Now, I did want to touch on something because I realized right before we started eating, or when I put it in the oven, that I forgot to add the sugar to the marinara sauce, to the meat sauce. And we usually add 2 teaspoons of sugar. You can leave it out. It still tastes delicious. But if you go to the recipe and you see that and you're like, wait a minute, she didn't add that. I want to let you know I just forgot. Still tastes good without it, but the sugar kind of doesn't really sweeten it. It takes out some of the zip that kind of comes with tomato sauce. So the tang, I guess I should say. Okay, guys, we're out of here. Remember, you can grab the full recipe linked in the description, as well as anything else you need from our any of the stuff I use or anything like that. I cannot wait to see you next time in my kitchen for another family-friendly recipe. I hope you liked today's, and I will see you next time. Bye!